When the one with the rifle gets killed, the one who is following picks up the rifle and shoots.
Welcome to the 25th episode of the Pick Up the Rifle and Shoot series, featuring my Czechoslovakian ZB Brno Romanian contract VZ24 bolt-action rifle. Wouldn't it have been awesome if this was actually episode 24? Welcome to the VZ24th episode of the Pick Up the Rifle and Shoot series. It has a nice ring to it, huh? Well, sadly, prepping her took longer than expected. Cosmoline was everywhere, and the front sight had issues. So my other CZ, my 452 FS, took her place. Now with my VZ24 up to par, I can honestly say she's my favorite short Mauser rifle that I own, and being made one for the Romanians, known as the Romanian contract VZ24, makes her all the more special. So here she is, my Czechoslovakian ZB Brno Romanian contract VZ24 bolt-action rifle. The VZ24 in itself is quite an interesting Mauser variation, combined with the Gewehr 98's large ring action and carabiner qualities of the German World War I Kar 98s. It's no wonder they became so pervasive throughout the world, with many other countries, not just Romania, ordering tens of thousands. For Romania, the VZ24 became their standard infantry rifle for World War II, with reports of approximately 450,000 to even more VZ24s delivered. And my example is towards the end of the Romanian contract, and also shows what the communists did to these rifles thereafter. Now, I'll go over in more detail, but first, let's make sure she's all clear. First up is the beautiful refurbished walnut stock and metal butt plate. Next to the butt plate, you can see the rifle's serial number engraved over the original serial number the stock had. Next up is the beautiful blued receiver. Here you can see the serial number on the left side along with the CM stamp indicating Romanian import acceptance. Romanian contract VZ24 serials start with 2 letters, then followed by 5-digit numbers up to 25,000 per batch. Each batch is represented by the first letter starting from A to Y, and the second letter R is for Romanian contract. And on the right, you can see the manufacturer's engraving along with the VZ24 model number. Up top, you can see the beautiful Gewehr 98 action that the VZ24 uses along with the straight bolt handle. Now, what makes my late Romanian contract VZ24 unique is actually what's lacking. Early ones would have the adorned, beautifully engraved crest of the previous monarchies, but as communism took over, they were scrubbed and removed. Next is the rear tangent sight that is adjustable for elevation only, from 300 to 2,000 meters. Here you can see the stock with its grasping grooves, and also the top handguard that covers the entire length of the barrel. And next is the front barrel band that has a side and bottom sling swivel. On the business end, you can see the barleycorn front side is protected by a unique front side cover. Now, as mentioned earlier, I had front side issues. First, the front side would move freely in its groove, so I had to shim it with a cut Coke can, and second was the height, which was a lot taller than expected, measuring 0.308 of an inch. And as you can imagine, it brought my shots way low. Now, let's go flip around to the other side. Here's another view of the beautiful walnut stock. Here you can see the unit disc on the side is engraved with the rifle's serial number. Next is the bolt, which appears to be refurbed, scrubbed, and reserialized with the rifle serial number. The bolt is extremely smooth, but I did have some issues extracting cases, which I believe is due to leftover Cosmoline. Next up is the trigger, which actually feels like a 2-stage trigger and has a nice clean and crisp break. And lastly on the bottom has a scrub magazine base plate and even still retains its original small lock screws for the action. Very cool. Overall, I'm very happy with my Romanian contract VZ24 bolt action rifle. In fact, she's my favorite short rifle Mauser that I own. She shot extremely well and is quite accurate despite having a very tall front sight, causing my hits to be way low all the way up to 200 yards with the ammo that I use. Now, I'm not sure what ammo the Romanians use, but I'll assume probably they work well with the taller front sight. So with that, let's get on with the shooting. Off to the 25-yard range. I always shoot rifles new to me at 25 yards to make sure they function fine, and I'm able to group and eventually zero them. After I adjusted the windage to hit center, I proceeded to shoot these 3 rounds to confirm my zero. Let's see how it went. As you can see, all the rounds hit center, however they printed about 3/4 of an inch low from my point of aim. This was a concern as typically Mausers generally hit high at shorter distances, especially with the VZ24's rear sight at its lowest setting of 300 meters. Now my curiosity set in, and I had a hunch that maybe when the rifle was refurbished, it was replaced with a taller front sight so it could be zeroed under 300 meters. So with that, I went to the 100-meter range to see where she hit. Let's see how it went. So my first couple of rounds hit about 5 inches low from the center mass hold on a 12-inch circle target. Obviously the front sight was not zeroed for 100 meters, but I still wanted to see how well she can do despite hitting so low. So I decided to go ahead and shoot 10 rounds, but this time I'm holding at the top center of the 12-inch circle target. Let's see how the first 5 rounds went. As you can see, the first 4 rounds grew very well, measuring about a 2-inch groove, with the last being a flyer. Now that's what I was pretty much expecting, around 2 MOA. Alright, so far so good. Now let's load up another 5 rounds. As you already know from my Pick Up the Rifle and Shoot series, that in my opinion, 10 rounds gives a shooter the best measure of what their rifle is capable of and what they're capable of, and 5 rounds just isn't enough. As you can see, the next 5 rounds grouped in the same area as the first, with the exception of one, hitting the flyer from the first group. And with that data, I can conclude that my Romanian contract VZ24 bolt-action rifle can at least do 2 MOA at 100 meters with the ammo that I'm using. PPU 8mm Mauser 198 grain full metal jacket boat tail. Shooting 10 rounds gives me an honest measurement of my capability with the ammo that I'm using. I'll measure 8 out of 10 rounds 80%, allowing 2 for shooter errors and flyers. So my hunch was somewhat correct. Even with the taller front sight, she was still laying low at 100 meters. That at least gave me some data of what to expect at 200 yards. But before that, let's have a little more fun at 100 meters. So I set up 5 6-inch steel circle targets at 100 meters and challenged myself to knock them off in only 5 rounds. 5 for 5. Now this was my third attempt, as on my first and second, the impact blast and debris from the steel would knock off the other targets. Though luckily the third time was a charm. Let's see how it went. Now did you notice it after the first target? If you blink you'll miss it. Watch the last target after each knockdown. And just like that, 5 6-inch steel circle targets neutralized. 5 for 5. The power of the 8mm Mauser round was so devastating at 100 meters that after each steel target knocked down, the last target kept turning and turning, stopping at a whopping 160 degrees, close to a full 180. I was perplexed how the bullet impact was on the back of the target when it went down range. It's not until I reviewed the footage that she actually turned that far. Very cool. Challenge completed. Now let's see how she does at 200 yards. Knowing that at 100 meters I was impacting 5 inches low, I estimated I would be about 10 inches low at 200 yards for my point of aim. My first test groups I was holding at the top of the 13-inch circle target, and surprisingly, I didn't even hit the paper. I had to review the camera footage to see where it was hitting, and it was hitting more than a foot below. So I stacked up 2 NRA 200C targets and aimed at the top target using a 6 o'clock hole, and I proceeded to shoot 5 rounds. Let's see how it went. Now along with the NRA targets that I'm using, I also put a shoot and see 12-inch circle target from Big Dog targets, so it's easier to see the hits on my spotting scope. Now as you can see, 3 of the first 5 rounds grouped well, with the other 2 high and to the right. And of course, as you already know, shooting 5 rounds just isn't enough. Let's load up another 5 rounds and see what she can do. As you can see, the next 5 rounds group in the same area with 2 hitting low. And so, with that data, I could conclude that my Romanian contract VZ24 bolt action rifle can at least do 2.9 MOA at 200 yards with the ammo that I'm using. PPU 8mm Mauser 198 grain full metal jacket boat tail. Now I know she can do a whole lot better than 2.9 MOA at 200 yards, especially looking at that 5 round group, which measured 2.4 inches, which is 1.2 MOA. Very cool. So there you have it, our Romanian contract VZ24 bolt action rifle, my favorite short Mauser rifle that I own. Able to shoot for groups and clear 5 for 5 on the 100 meter steel targets, I'm really impressed. She shot very well and I really love her aesthetics, especially after finding a correct cleaning rod and sling. Special thanks to Gospodin from Gunboards for the cleaning rod, I appreciate you. Well, again, I had a blast doing another episode, and I thank you for watching. Till next time.